everyone, it's Hannah and welcome to the Craftea Chat podcast and to the Corner of Craft. If you are new to the channel and to my podcast, hi. Like I already said, my name is Hannah. I'm coming at you today from a slightly cloudy but still quite bright Nottingham in the UK. And the Craftea Chat podcast is a knitting and very rarely crochet podcast in which I sit and enjoy a cup of tea while I talk about the projects that I've been working on, the things I have bought, and just about my life in general, really. Got quite a few exciting things. Got no finished objects, but I do have progress on the things I've been knitting, so that's always a good sign. Plus I got a couple of acquisitions. The tea I'm drinking today is Bird and Blend Butter Brew. Get my face out the way so it focuses. This is one of their new teas. I popped in yesterday and had to pick them up. This is my third cup of it. I'm going to have to start rationing it. I'm just going to get through it. It smells better than it tastes. It is a very tasty tea. I just wish it tasted how it smelled. If that makes sense. I might play with how I'm brewing it and see if I can make it better. But it's still tasty. But it just doesn't taste like it smells. If that makes sense. And tea sometimes does. You know? Yes. If you'd like to follow me on social media, please feel free. All of the links to those can be found in the description box below, and as well as all of the links in the description box, you will find a link to my shop, because I am the owner of thecornerofcraft.co.uk, and I make and sell stitch markers as well as dye yarn and sell it under the umbrella of Chromatic Yarns, which is pretty exciting. All of the yarn that I dye is inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, so that is fun stuff. Anyway, yes, but you will also find a link to the Ravelry group, which is the Craftea Chat podcast group on Ravelry, and in there you sometimes find show notes as well as information about various giveaways and knit-alongs that are happening. And speaking of knit-alongs, at the moment I am hosting the 50k sweater cal to celebrate the fact I've hit 50,000 subscribers here on YouTube, which is a crazy number, let's be honest. I am hosting a 50,000 celebration of a knit-along, and you knit a jumper basically. That goes on till the 17th of August, so you still have some time. I have no finished objects to show you today. I have knit a hat, but I gifted it, so I do not have it to show. I didn't take a picture of me wearing it because I'm not organised. Oh, the shawl I'm wearing today, I suppose I should talk about that. This is the Bendy Arrows shawl by Charlotte Bory in Lollipop Guild yarns. The gold colour is Goldie Horn, and then this colour here is called Move It, Move It. I do the dance every time, and I really shouldn't. But yes, I knit a hat out of some grey Aran weight yarn that I had for one of my friends and gifted him the hat. But like I say, I don't have it with me because I have gifted it already, but hopefully it fits and hopefully he likes it. Right, let's get into some things. So I have a half object, but I can't really show you it, and I'm making progress on the second one. This is the back of it, so it's not showing anything and giving too much away. I'm test knitting a sock pattern for one of my friends, and yeah, I am using chromatic yarns in the Rock Gnome colour. So this is what this knits up like, so that's pretty awesome. This is just plain stocking stitch, so I'm not giving anything away. But I've got one of these done, and I'm now working on the second, and that is living in my Emerald Fibres bag that I bought at Woolin this year, which was the yarn festival I went to in Dublin. So I can't really talk about that one, so let's move along. Let's move on to my cardigan that I'm knitting for the hoodie shawl sweater cal, and let me tell you a tale of woe. So I got all this done and got all excited that I was ready to move on to the next section, and then I looked at the pattern again and realised that I had done garter stitch instead of reverse stocking stitch. So I'm in the process of picking the stitches up just above this purple bit to then rip out all of the purple and do reverse stocking stitch and actually knit it how it's meant to be. It's annoying. Anyway, So this is the hoodie shawl cardigan. Da, 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 da. This is a pattern by Susanne Sommer, or Susanna Sommer. She is Austrian, therefore I like to give the not correct pronunciation, German pronunciation I suppose. Yes, I'm not putting the hood on it, I'm just doing the shawl cardigan part. But I got onto the last bit and I got really excited. The last time I showed you, I was here. This is one of my little stitch markers, a little chicken. So I was here, I was there the last time I showed you. So I got all of this done. I was really, really proud. And then yesterday I looked at it and thought, oh, farts. Actually, I didn't say farts at all. I definitely said an expletive. And then I started to pick up the stitches, and then I realised I had to leave the house. So I haven't had time to finish it yet today, but I intend to this evening sit, pick up all those stitches and start my reverse stocking stitch instead of garter stitch. And that is why you make sure you read the instructions properly instead of skim reading them, because that was stupid on my part. So, I'm really annoyed about it, can you tell? The yarn I'm using is actually also chromatic yarns. I do apologise, I'm not trying to like spam my yarn at you. But the purple colour I am using is called Vicious Mockery, and then this colour, main body colour, is called Blue Slad. They're both on my Merino 4-ply base, which is a 4-ply weight, fingering weight if you're in the States, yarn. And I'm using, I think 3.5mm needles usually, but I've switched it to a smaller size to pick up all the stitches for ease. Yeah, when I'm ripping out quite a few rows, instead of tinking back, because who can be asked with that, I just go in and pick up the stitches. So you pick up the right leg of the stitch through each stitch, and then you just rip it out until you can't anymore. And yeah, so that will be the fun task I have later today. I'm getting a bit fed up with knitting this, I won't lie. I really want the end product, I really want it, but the rows are so long. I feel like I'm not making progress on it because the rows are really long now, and they're probably not even that long. I don't know why, it just feels like a slog, and I just want to get on to another bit of it. But then I've got to pick up all the stitches around the outside, and then it's going to be an even longer rows. But yeah, I'm just going to keep going with it because I'm refusing to let myself cast on another jumper until I've got it done, and I really want to cast on more jumpers. But I'm just getting really fed up with it, especially now I've made that mistake with it. I was tempted to put it in timeout for a bit and then come back to it later, but that's a mistake because I know that if I do that I won't pick it up again. So I just need to get through these really long rows. I need to suck it up. I'll try and do it before next podcast. Mainly because I'm also trying to finish this before the Strings and More podcast, which is a podcast I've started to watch recently, are hosting a cardigan cow. And I can enter this because it's a cardigan. And that finishes at the end of July. So I better get a wiggle on, really. It's just so annoying because I want it. It's just so frustrating. Yum. Tea. I don't know what it is about that tea that doesn't make it taste as good as it smells. Anyway. Okay. So living in my other Emerald Fibres bag. I love these bags so much. And I know I harp, or what's it called, wax poetic about them. But I walk along and knit with it on my arm like this, and it's much more comfortable than my Fringefield supply bag, in my opinion. But I also enjoy my fringe bag, so I can't really say anything. So I am knitting another Flax Light. I think I had cast it on last time I showed you, I believe. Let's get rid of this long end because I always leave far too much when I cast on. I'm knitting it in the 6 to 12 month size because this is for my cousin's baby who was born in December. It's on a small cable so it looks smaller than it is, but I also think it will block out to be a little bit bigger. This is the Flax Light pattern. I'm not doing the garter panel down the sleeve because I decided not to. The yarn I am using is Yarn Cafe Creations in her Railcar colourway, and it's 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. It's very soft. It's ridiculously soft. If I didn't know better, I'd think there was cashmere in it. I don't know if she still carries this base. I believe she's got a new base instead of this one, because this is very old yarn. But I was really worried it was going to pull quite a lot on the body, but it's not. It's actually striping up beautifully, and I'm not alternating skeins at all. And yeah, there's a bit pulling at the top, but that's expected. But yeah, I just knit a few rows of this every now and then. I need to get some more projects finished so I can cast on some more things, I think. But yes, this is my first time. I've knit a few flax lights, but this is my first time knitting a slightly larger size. So I really, really hope it fits the baby. And I need to get this done by the end of August, because that is when I am seeing my cousin and her offspring. So yeah. Tiny baby jumper for a tiny baby. Oddly satisfying. I don't know. I just feel like my knitting mojo is dwindling a bit this week. I'm not sure. I don't know what it means. I think it probably means I need a new cast on. But I won't let myself till I finish some things. I am speeding through this far too quickly. So I finished vanilla socks last week, and I went out to the pub on Saturday, and realised I needed some more vanilla socks to knit whilst I was at the pub. And oh, I can a little bit tell when I started to have a bit more to drink, because this is a little bit uneven. Nah, they're just for me. So the yarn these are the socks. Here's another one of my stitch markers. So there we go. The yarn I am using is Babel's yarns on her bamboozle base, which is a merino bamboo blend, and bamboo makes great socks because it's quite sturdy and strong. Yes, and this is her Calypso colourway, and that is being housed in my Edinburgh Yarn Festival bag. Just said quite a lot of words in quite a short space of time there. So this is the yarn in a cake, in a very messy cake, because it's been in that bag as I've been knitting it. Yes, the Calypso colour, and I don't know about you, and I don't know if some people would take this as an insulting thing. I don't intend it to be insulting. It kind of reminds me of different colours of cabbages. I suppose you could also say succulents. It's because it's like that muted sagey green with the pink. And these I decided were going to be my souvenir socks from Woolen when I went, because I bought this from Grace, who is the dyer behind Babel's Yarns, when I went to Woolen. So, oh, I've dropped a full stitch and then just kept knitting round. Oh wow. Well, let's move the stitch marker onto the stitch and then try to fix that later. I'm definitely just going to pick up another stitch and sew that in, because it's all the way down there and I can't be bothered to unpick all of this. This is why drunk knitting isn't clever, and also shows you, or it's not even drunk knitting at that point, let's be honest, that's way down the sock. At that point it was I'm talking to everyone and not concentrating on what I'm doing knitting, because when I knit I don't look at people. Yeah, that's fine though. I'll just pick up those stitches and then sew it in and make another one at some point. It'll be fine. It's the sock for me. No one's going to look that closely. It's going to be in a boot. But yeah, vanilla sock, because you always need a vanilla sock on the go, just for, like, you know, social knitting. I was going to take the baby jumper, but I thought knitting a baby jumper at the pub, it's frowned upon by some people, I imagine. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Well, that's all my whips. That's all I've got. I have been working on my Cozy Memories blanket a lot as well, and that's upstairs. I haven't brought that down. I'll wait till I finish the row and I'll show it next time. That was my in bed knitting. Okay, so let's move on to finished things. No, let's not do that. Let's move on to stash fattening, because I really need more yarn. Really, let's be honest. So Countess Ablaze, I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talk about this. Countess Ablaze, in a very short space of time, organised the Tits Out Collective, which was started because she originally dyed a colourway called If I Want Exposure, I'll Get My Tits Out, which I bought at the, or I didn't buy that, which happened at the same time as my Shitty and Treve colour, which I did buy. This is going to be part of a So Faded jumper that I really want to cast on. But I didn't buy the Tits Out colour because I didn't really think it was me, which is fine. Anyway, what transpired after that was she thought that someone had copied her colourway, although, you know, no one can say for certain. And so instead of berating the person, she said, if you want to be part of this, well, it wasn't at that point named the Tits Out Collective, but if you want to be part of this thing, send me an email. I will send you out the colours. I'll send you a list of colours that I used, and you can dye a colourway using those colours called If I Want Exposure, I'll Get My Tits Out, and then you insert your own name here. And the only thing is, you have to make sure you donate a percentage of your takings to a charity of your choice. So 287 makers took part in this Tits Out Collective. It was organised in 10 days and 287 people took part all over the world. Now that's an awful lot of money being raised for charity. On the day that it was all happening and they were all coming out, I was really annoyed with myself that I didn't take part. But you know what? What can you do? It's one of those situations where woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn't. But instead I decided to support some other dyers. Now I'm still waiting for one skein to get here because I ordered it from the States. In fact, Tristan of Dragon Horde Yarn, who I bought the yarn from, Tristan, your yarn is the very first skein of yarn I have bought from the States. I have yarn from the States in my stash, but it's all stuff that I've either been gifted or that has been sent to me. Tristan's skein is the first skein I've bought from the States. And the reason that I don't buy a lot of yarn from the States is because postage is actually colossal, which is really sad because there are so many dyes I want to support. But it's alright, I can support my British buds as well. So the first one that arrived and the first one that I bought, and how does everything have my hair on it? I molt terribly. This is If I Want My Exposure, I'll Get My Tits Out Beehive's Bee Stings edition. This is by Beehive Yarns on her Audrey base, which is 75/25 superwash merino and nylon. And bless her, she sends a little bee stitch marker with it. And so yes, love this. Look at those neon orange speckles. Look at the beautiful yarn. Now I can't remember off the top of my head who or each of the charities. Yes, I can. I have a feeling that Beth, the dyer behind Beehive Yarns, was donating to breast cancer research or cancer research. I think. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. But oh, there are some fantastic coloured speckles in this. It's so cool. Yeah, I really like this one. It's been a while since I've properly sat and looked at it because it arrived very quickly after I bought it. Beth, you're fantastic. And then the other one I bought is Rusty Ferret, which is If I Want Exposure, I'll Get My Tits Out, Tag Your Sources. This is on her doll base, which is 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. So they are the same base. And this is the Rusty Ferret one. Oh, and £3 from each sale of this yarn was donated to Insights Counselling in Dundee. So that's pretty cool. Now this is significantly different to this. This is grey at the base and then has the speckles on it. So it tones the speckles down quite a lot. It's got some neon yellows in it and so fun. So what I was going to do initially when I first got it was pair it with this neon yellow I have, and then I thought, no, let's not. Because I put these two next to each other and then I got the picture of Tristan's up. And Tristan's is darker than this one, but not as dark as this one. You can see where I'm going with this. I'm going to make a So Faded Tits Out jumper with one in the middle Ta-da! That's the plan. You could see where that was going as I was talking about it. So yes. I love them. And I just want Tristan to arrive already. It's not a reflection on her, it's 100% a reflection of the postal service. She shipped it out very quickly. It's just things coming from the States, they get stuck in customs and blah blah blah, and ugh, such faff. And I'm just very impatient as well. Let's be more honest about our feelings, Hannah, come on. Right, I think that's everything I actually have to share regarding knitting today. Very quick podcast. But I am going to talk to you about a shop update before I talk to you about life stuff. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you may have seen, but maybe not, because I do spam Instagram stories quite a lot, so I don't blame you for missing it. But I recently announced that I've gone full-time with the Corner of Craft, my little business. The opportunity arose, so I decided to grab it with both hands. And yeah, I've been a busy beading bee this week, and that is not a sentence I can say again, so try not to make me say it. So this week is a stitch marker update. Last week I did a Chromatic Yarns yarn update, and there are still a few skeins left in the shop. So if you're interested, please head on over to thecornerofcraft.co.uk, which is my new website. I can't remember if I announced that in my last... Yes, I did. There are still some skeins available in the shop, which is very exciting because it means that you've still got time to get your hands on it if you didn't know I was doing an update. But Saturday at 4 PM BST, so that is the 14th, yeah, excuse me, tea gurgle. That is the 14th of July at 4 PM British summer time, so 4 PM London time if you need to do the Google of what time that is where you are. I will be posting all my stitch markers in my shop, and I've got quite a few for you to choose from this week. Quite proud, done quite a lot of beading this week. My back feels it. I'm gonna take tomorrow off beading and have that all for photographing and making listings, and probably beading as well, because another announcement. Where's all the announcements? So let's start off by sharing what I am going to be selling. So to start with, I've got a little Maneki Nico, and I apologise if I mispronounced that. It's a Japanese lucky cat. It's one of these waving cats, and it's got a 24 karat gold plated bead in the centre of the flower. For those knitting projects that need a little bit of extra luck, maybe I should make myself an extra one and put it on this, because this needs a bit of extra luck at the moment. Oh, I'm just annoyed at it. And then, because it's almost pumpkin season, it's not, let's be honest, but in my heart it is. I've got a tiny pumpkin stitch marker, and he's got little rosy cheeks. And the fastening that I use for my stitch markers are these, some people call them D-clasps. I always know them as lever back earrings. It just means that you can use them both as progress keepers and also stitch markers on your knitting needles, because they slide over easily because they're so slim. Whereas for me, the lobster clasps or trigger clasps or whatever you call them, these ones, for me, those are great in their own right, but you can't use them as stitch markers, in knitting at least. You can probably use them as stitch markers in crochet, but in knitting I think these are better suited as progress keepers. But yeah, you know, just differences of opinion. So to go with the pumpkin, because apparently I'm on a food theme, I decided the shape of the pumpkin was quite tomato-y, so I decided to make some tomatoes as well. And they've got little eyes and little rosy cheeks, and so they're just very cute. And I realise that some people might think it's weird to have a tiny tomato on your knitting, but hey, whatever. I just have some apples going in. These are really fun. No faces on these ones. Then I decided to put a couple of unicorns back in the shop because it's been a while since I included unicorns in the update. What tends to happen is I tend to bead things until I'm sick of making them. So then I take a couple of months off making them and then I start to make some more unicorns. So I've only got a couple going in the shop this week because I want to consistently start having them in the shop. So I've got that green, that one was green and navy, and then this one is like an iridescent purple, and it's got a metallic silver horn and hoofs, and they've both got just a white body, and that's not going to focus. Hopefully you'll get a good enough look at it. A few people have been asking for the tiny chickens, so we're having tiny chickens. Oh, these are just so much fun to bead. I love these. And I obviously love them because I have one on my own knitting. We have a toadstool because for me toadstools seem quite autumnal. I'm not sure why, but they just are. I've got a little toadstool going in. I've got a couple of sheep. So we've got the classic white sheep with the black face. This is a very popular one. They tend to go quite quickly. And then I thought, well, why not? I can't believe I've not done this before. A black sheep. Oop. And this black sheep has a grey face and little grey feet. And then finally, I've had quite a lot of excitement and interest over these, which is very exciting for me. But I'm also worried that they're not going to last very long. For the coffee fans in the house, I have a little takeaway coffee cup that's not branded in any way. And these are done using a slightly different technique called square stitch. So for this one, the beads are sewn one on top of each other. I mean, I've got tutorials further back on my YouTube channel if you're genuinely interested. But these are super flexible. I'm trying to show you. Look how flexible it is. This is me twisting it like this. They're very strong, which is perfect for knitting projects because they can get screwed up in a project bag and it doesn't matter. These are also strong, but they're not as flexible. They're still bendy. They still won't break on you. I use a very good thread. I don't use, it's not sewing thread that I use. It's a beading thread and it's got nylon running through it, so it's much stronger. Trust me, I have tried to, in my early beading days, just try to snap it, and no, it does not. That just really hurts your hands. So lesson learnt. And then the next one I have, once again, quite a few excited messages about this one, and that is my iced coffee. Also not branded, obviously. And you got some whipped cream on the top. And then I've got a matcha latte one as well, because I actually found the perfect green for a matcha latte. The hilarity of the fact that I've just left a shop in which, or just left a job in which coffee and teas and iced coffees and teas were made, and then I have left that job to bead them instead. The irony is not lost on me. In fact, I find it quite delightful. So, if you want to make sure that you catch this stitch marker update, I have 3 of each of the charms available. That makes for a total of 39. And not to toot my own horn and not to sound too like mad panicky about things, they do tend to sell within a couple of days. Not a couple of hours, don't panic, but they do tend to sell quite quickly. So if you're watching this, I don't know, on Friday or Saturday evening, not Friday, ignore the Friday. If you're watching this a bit later on or after the update, feel free to check out the shop still, because I'm sure there will still be some available, because they don't sell out instantly. Don't panic. But yes, they're so cute. Yeah, this is honestly what I've just been doing for the past 3 days. My back knows it, but worth it. So yes, that is on the corner of craft.co.uk. There will be a stitch marker bit, and that is on the 14th of July at 4 p.m. British summertime, and I will make all those listings tomorrow and have them ready to go for Saturday. Okay, this is my knee, please excuse me. Just getting comfortable. So now I'm just going to chat about life stuff for a little bit. Oh, there is one more thing. Tristan of Dragon Hoard Yarn and myself are going to be collaborating together on a little kit that will be coming out August the 10th in her shop. Now, I'm not going to divulge too much information because she hasn't announced it all yet, and she is currently asleep, so I can't double check with her to find out what she wants shared and what she doesn't want shared. All I can say is keep an eye on our Instagram. I'm the Corner of Craft on Instagram, and she is dragon_hoard_yarn, I believe, on Instagram for more announcements nearer the time. But it is pumpkin spice latte themed, and that's all I'm gonna say. How exciting. Right, now I'm gonna talk about life stuff. So, I suppose the biggest change is that I've left my day job. I don't want to go into too much detail about it. I just decided that it was an appropriate time for me to move on, and yeah, so I'm currently working full-time on my own business. I will be keeping an eye out for other jobs and such that are around, see if anything takes my fancy, but I'm going to try and make this work and try to make this happen and try to win at my own business, if that is such a thing. It just seems super terrifying but very exciting. So unsure times are ahead. Good times. So I guess that's the biggest life change. Next is I went out for a few drinks on Saturday. Had a wonderful time. Was hungover on Sunday. So then Mario and I went strawberry picking, which was great for the first little bit, until I realised that the constant bending down and standing up of the strawberry picking was not the best thing for a hungover stomach. Then I went and found the raspberries to pick, and that was much more comfortable because they're all taller, on taller bushes. And then I just got over it and got over my hangover, and that was great once more. But yes, so that happened. And then we have potentially, a wedding update news, we have potentially found a wedding venue, finally. So I was a little bit in denial about the fact that I was engaged for a really long time, and was then really terrified about the fact I had to plan a wedding for a really long time, and was then just dragging my heels because I thought, this is quite a lot to plan, this is quite a lot to do, and this is quite a lot of money. But we think we found a wedding venue. It's really cool. Getting married close to Nottingham, and that's about all I'm going to tell you right now. We're thinking winter wedding, I think. I mean, things still need to be finalised, still need to double check dates, but it's going to be happening next year. So that is very exciting. I am looking forward to that a lot. Other than that, I don't feel like I've been up to that much. Met up with some friends for tea and cake, and that was delightful. And then yeah, just normal things, you know, just the normal life things, you know, the whole living thing. It's been hot in the UK, but I'm sure you've been watching everyone's Instagram stories and podcasts, and you're thinking, all right, Hannah, we know it's hot in the UK. Shush now. Which is why I don't want to harp on about it too much or at all. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it for life stuff and whatnot. How uninteresting. I'm off to Edinburgh in a few weeks. A couple of our friends are getting married up in Edinburgh, so I will be going up there. And it's around the same time that the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is on. So we are staying for a few days after the wedding, and staying with the lovely ladies that I stayed with when I went to Edinburgh Yarn Festival both earlier this year and last year. So I get to snuggle with some more babies, so that is very exciting. And that's about it really that I have to share right now. I have some very exciting news, but I can't tell you it yet. That's okay. It's got nothing to do with babies, so don't get too excited. Oh, I kept thinking I had a spot on my head. It's not. It's a speck on the viewfinder. Good to know. Right. I think that's everything. I think that's all I can bore you all with. Oh, I got a new phone. It's a Huawei. It's a word I can't say. Honor 9. And I really like it so far. It works well. And it's really shiny. Other than I can't do Instagram highlights on it, so I'm really annoyed. I think it's a problem with the app on my phone rather than anything else. Whatever. That's such a minimal problem. I'm over it. So, like I say, or like I've said before, stitch marker update weeks. I unfortunately don't have an awful lot of knitting time because I do an awful lot of beading. But I'm going to try to organise my days more, so I have more knitting time. So I do more knitting. So I finish this because I need to rip all this out. I'm so sad. It takes me so long to knit such long rows, especially when I keep stopping and looking at my phone. Does anyone else do that? They think, oh, I could do this in half the time if I stopped obsessively going on Instagram. It's not interesting. Ah, also I forgot to point out, this is my Hufflepuff mug because it's got badges on it and it's massive. This mug is huge. And it was only £2 from Asda. Just saying. Bargain. Right, I'm off. I'm off ski. I love these. I love these so much. I just want Tristan's to arrive so I can see if the fade will work. Because I think literally so much of my hair is on everything. I'm really sorry if you order something from me and it has my hair on it. I only have to, like, something doesn't even have to come into my house and it will probably have my hair on it. But yeah, right. That's enough of me blabbing. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button below this video and hit subscribe as well, which is also below this video. That means that my videos will pop up in your subscription feed, which is one of the front pages on YouTube. And if you find me particularly enjoyable to watch, then once you hit the subscribe button, there's a little bell that pings up next to it, and feel free to hit that, and notifications will happen on various devices, be it your desktop, phone, tablet, whatever. A little thing will come up and be like, oh, the Corner of Craft just uploaded a video, and then you can click directly on it, and it just means, you know, you'll always be one of the first people to see it. And also when I do live streams on YouTube, which I'm going to start doing every other week, so I think what I'm going to do is try to do every other Thursday do my podcast, and every other Wednesday evening do a live stream. That's the goal. As in the ones in between. I'm not going to live stream the day before a podcast, that's just crazy. But yeah, so if you don't want to miss out on any live streams or anything, you know, notifications, they're important. Also, down in the description box, don't forget, like I said in the beginning, you will find links to all of my social media, to the Reverie group, to my shop. I was going to say Etsy shop, that was a force of habit, not on Etsy anymore, and whatnot. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. I hope that's it. I don't think I have anything else to tell you. Fab. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.